Hello everybody, in this video we're going to be taking a look at how I painted up this Grimdark Death Shroud Terminator. For our first colour, we're simply just going to lay down an all over coat of Deathguard green. Now I will be using my airbrush here, so it doesn't really matter too much if we're going to catch areas such as like the chainmail and other bits that aren't armour, because we can just paint over those later on. So with the Deathguard green all airbrushed in, we're going to now take some Nurgling green and we're going to come in from a top-down zenithal kind of motion, and this is going to give us a fairly simple but really nice volumetric. So here you can see the difference between the Nurgling green and this one I obviously haven't done yet, but you can see the difference between how bright they are. And the reason that we've done this Nurgling green, yes, it is quite bright, but we are going to be doing a enamel wash of AK Streak and Grime over the entire model. So we want to actually have a fairly high jump because the enamel wash is going to knock it back quite a lot. So then later on when we actually do the reductive technique and take the enamel wash off, we are left with a, yes, stained and darkened, but still a decently nice, like olive sort of green. So next up, we're going to do all of the bronze on the armor, and for that, we're going to use Warp Block Bronze. This Warp Block Bronze is going to share the same enamel wash as the actual armor, so that is why we're doing it now. Now that the brass has all been applied, we are going to come in with our Streak and Grime. Now, when it comes to Streak and Grime, you can apply this just with a brush over your models, but since we're doing 3 of them, I'm going to just thin it down with a little bit of Airbrush Flow Improver, and we're just going to airbrush it on. Once that Streak and Grime is all dry, you can come in with a Q-tip and some mineral spirits as I am here, and you can see that it actually wipes away the Streak and Grime off the actual like raised surfaces, leaving it in the recesses. So it will give us a really nice dark recessed shade, and it will also still be staining those surfaces, giving us a really nice grimy look. And here we go. So here is the effect of the Streak and Grime. You can see that I've removed it from the main raised surfaces, leaving it in the recesses, giving us a lot of nice depth and grime. And when we compare the two, this is one of the ones that we did with the volumetrics. You can see now why we went so bright. We can still maintain those volumetrics as you can see on this model here, but that Streak and Grime really heavily knocks back that green. So that is the reason why we go so bright the step before. So next up we have a few base coats just to actually block in. So for all of the capes and the hood, we're going to block it in with some Baraknar Burgundy. For all of the like fleshy bits, we've got Rakarth Flesh. For things like the chainmail and things like that, we've got Dwarven Iron, which is a fairly nice dark silver. And then for any black details, we've got Doom Death Black. So now that everything is actually base coated in, I want to just talk about a mistake that I've actually made here. Now, looking at this, everything that I've base coated in here, the silver, the Rakarth Flesh, even the cape, all of that can still use that Streak and Grime wash. So if I was to do these again, what I would recommend doing instead is just base coat everything, get those volumetrics in, base coat everything, and then just give it an all over with the Streak and Grime. Now in this case, the Streak and Grime can be painted on with a paintbrush, so I'm just going to off camera just go around and just paint the Streak and Grime in and then remove it as we did in the previous step. So here we are after I've reapplied that Streak and Grime, and you can see that it just really helps to tie all of the different aspects of the model together, giving us a really nice dark, grimy look. So our next step is going to be all of the edge highlights on the model, and typically I would do like 2 to 3 rounds of edge highlights, but on this model I want to maintain that dark, gritty, like Grimdark sort of atmosphere that we've got. So I'm only going to really do 1 round just to maintain that look. So for the green armor, we're just going to come back in with our Nurgling green, and we're only going to really edge highlight where the light is going to be catching. So our light source is top down from 12 o'clock. So we're going to be looking at areas such as the trim on the shoulder pad just here, like the top of this bit here, and then like the top of the belly and things like that. So when doing your edge highlights, we haven't really got too much paint actually on the brush, as you can see here. And then it also helps to actually turn your model into weird directions, because if you look on the shoulder pad here, it's a lot easier now that I've turned the model to run the belly of my brush along that sharp edge just there and get a really nice clean edge highlight. Whereas if we were doing it this way round, it's a little bit more tricky and you're using the actual tip of the brush rather than the belly. So I always find that using the belly of the brush just gives you a bit more control. And here we are after the Nurgling green edge highlights, and you can see it just really helps to make that green armor really pop and stand out. And I've also gone around, and wherever we have things like the cuts like this, I've edge highlighted underneath to help that stand out as well. So for the rest of the model, we can actually do a lot of our highlights with simple dry brushing. So for the bone details, we're just going to come in with some Ushabti bone. For the scythe, we're going to come in with some gunmetal by Vallejo. And then for the cape, we're just going to return to our Baraknar Burgundy, do a quick dry brush, and then we can add some Mephiston red into it for a final brighter dry brush as well. With the dry brushing all done, you can see that our bone now and our cape have got some really nice but still fairly subtle highlights to just keep it in that grimdark sort of feel. So the only things we have left are the tentacles just here and the black details. So for the black details, we're just going to do a quick edge highlight with Eshin Grey, and then for the tentacles, I've re-established some of that Rakarth flesh on there, and I'm going to come in with some Murder Scene speed paint, and that's just going to give them a nice like red, worn sort of look. And here we go. So with the tentacles done and the black details done, the actual main bulk of the miniature is now finished. So all that's really left is just a little bit of weathering, and for that we're just going to do some rust, and I'm going to be using the Dirty Down Rust. So when applying your Dirty Down Rust, I would highly recommend using a synthetic brush. So that's what I've got just here. And then the areas that we're looking for are just where things like water is going to naturally sit and pool. So you'd be looking at along like the tops of this bit just here, you know, inside the foot bit just here, potentially like under here because the water would run down and then pool in there. And with Dirty Down Rust, you can use it straight from the pot, and then you can actually use water to reactivate it. So if you use too much, you can just bring in some water, reactivate it, move it around, things like that. And here we go. So with the dirty down rust all applied, you can see what a massive difference that product makes. It is, honestly, in my opinion, it's the best rust product on the market at the minute. It is just crazy good, and it adds just so much stuff to our model. Now, of course, the rust part is completely optional. You don't have to do this. If not, you can just call it in the step before this, and then just base your miniatures however you want.